here with my good friend Tasmania.
Welcome back.
I like that one. That's a good one. That's right, as my nephew Clark just said, welcome back to part 2 of our Hobart series of Stuff to Do. Alright, so last video of Stuff to Do in Hobart, we covered off walking around the wharf area, eating at Muir's and the Drunken Admiral, visiting the summit of Mount Wellington, and just cruising southward along the beautiful coastline of Hobart. In this video, we'll be checking out probably the 3 biggest attractions on offer in Hobart, as well as a few extras along the way, and as always, a few good places to eat. Probably my favourite suburb in Hobart is the very European-feeling Salamanca. It's a great place to check out art, fashion and cool architecture, but it's best known for its incredible markets held every Saturday morning.
So these are tempura mushrooms with plum sauce. Yum.
The standout stall for me was this guy up the very western end. He's super eccentric and makes these quirky little art pieces from old children's toys. Although his art may not be for everyone, I personally think he's a bit of a genius. He's way too cool not to share with you all, so this next clip is him critiquing a random book out loud to the crowd.
I can explain. I hate that. Especially in the movies in an obvious situation where it's out, and all they go, I can explain! Oh, why didn't you start explaining? Because they're already gone. Get out. It's my brother. The fridge just fell on a dog or something. I mean, if that's the reality, why not? But I can. It's just so weak. It's meant to be a strong book with AK-47s in everyone's back pocket. You know that I can explain that there's no one left in the village anymore. It was just an isolated hailstorm that just took everyone out, and that's all the pitter-potter in all those buildings over there. My boy, it's just, freak weather in Afghanistan, that's all.
So yeah, he's quite eccentric, but make sure you pop in and say good day to him when you're checking out Salamanca markets. Just on our way out to Port Arthur, and I thought I'd stop over and show this sign. Oh, it's so cute, Tassie Devil with wings. The Port Arthur Historic Site is about an hour's drive from Hobart and is one of the most important heritage sites of Australia. For up to 170 years, it was a jail to some of Britain's worst criminals during the early settlement period, and acted much like Alcatraz in that the natural landscape trapped the prisoners from escaping. Then on April the 28th, 1996, the already dark nature of Port Arthur took another horrific turn when a lone gunman took the lives of 35 people and wounded another 23 on site and in the suburbs surrounding. It remains Australia's worst ever mass murder and is actually still ranked today as the 7th worst terror attack by a lone gunman in the world. Walking around this whole site was a solemn and kind of sad experience for me. Fortunately, these 2 events have had a really positive lasting legacy on the nation of Australia. Oh, this is still pretty cool. Groundbreaking incarceration practices were actually trialled here a long time ago that eventually became the norm across the whole world. Then of course, no one can deny the impact that the Port Arthur massacre had on Australian gun laws, making it one of the safest countries in the world today. So for these 2 reasons alone, plus the mere fact that it's just a beautiful place to go and see, it's a must-see destination if you're in Hobart. Ooh, Port Arthur. Now to get back to the lighter side of things. Hey Belle, where are we?
Hello.
Like your own private little beach, man. So make sure that you leave some time in the day after Port Arthur to pop down the road 5-10 minutes to see the remarkable cave. Cool. So in case you haven't noticed, I love naturally occurring phenomena like this place. So it's basically this eroded out cave where the water flows all the way through from the ocean, and it really reminds me of that scene from The Count of Monte Cristo where he discovers all the treasure.
Move it, body, move it, move it, baby. Move it, body.
Another naturally occurring sight to see on your way back from Port Arthur is the very beautiful tessellated pavement. Yeah, anyway, enough of that. Back to my beautiful face. So basically erosion has done its cool thing again, where the salt water flowing over the rocks has created these really perfectly straight lines in some places. It's a lot better than some tiling that I've seen around the place. Some mad tessellation. Water looks like shiny tiles. So it only takes a couple of minutes to walk down from the car park, and you only stay for about 10-15 minutes, but it's worth checking out because it's so unique. Like, I've never seen such straight lines in nature. Perfect. It's just straight. It's kind of amazing, eh? Alright, so before we share our pick of the number one thing to do in Hobart and say our goodbyes, we got to share two more awesome little spots to grab a bite to eat. So the first one we found is this amazing little bakery. We had just come from seeing the sunrise on Mount Wellington. We had McDonald's punched into the GPS because we thought nothing else would be open. And just before we got there, we saw this place. Oh. So I lived in Europe for 2 years and I know what a good bakery tastes like. Man, I hope these guys franchise because this is the best bakery I've ever tried in Australia by far. They're on a whole nother level. The next place is this cool little restaurant called Tacos. It's Mexican, massive margaritas and cocktails, can't go wrong. Anyway, so we finally get to, in my opinion, the best thing to do in Hobart, which is, drumroll please, visit Bruny Island. Holy moly, I did not expect Bruny Island to be this beautiful. So we hadn't even heard of Bruny Island before we went to Tasmania, but a few locals kept talking about it in Hobart, and we ended up checking it out, and we couldn't believe that it's not well heard of. So you can jump on the ferry with your car and drive over and just potter around yourself, but I highly recommend that you drop the $150 and book in a tour around the coastline with Penicott Wilderness Journeys. Man, it was amazing. So the tour goes for 3 hours and they have all these pit stops to these really unique cliffs, caves, rock formations, and even like this really cool naturally occurring blowhole. Then you've got all the wild sea life like the dolphins, sea lions, eagles, the birds feeding on the bait fish, there's penguins, and even during winter they've got whales. But just the scenery alone is so stunning. I mean, I wish I could have taken my drone with me on the boat because Oh, it's just such a drone-worthy area. But I wish that we actually had more time on Bruny Island. We were only there for 1 day, so we quickly got the tour over and done with. Had a little look around at this awesome little oyster shop called Get Shucked. Beautiful, fresh Tasmanian oysters. But there's so much more to do on Bruny Island that we didn't get to see. I would have loved to have hiked around the top of those cliffs or something like that. Just, yeah, an unbelievable island, and in my opinion, the best thing to do if you're in the Hobart area. So that's it, guys, for stuff to do in Hobart. I hope you've enjoyed our 2-part series on it. Next episode, we're going to be heading up the eastern coast to places like Freycinet National Park, Swansea, Bichena, as we head north up to Launceston. I hope you're enjoying our content. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, and leave a comment of stuff to do in Hobart that we missed. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at StuffToDoOfficial. And yeah, we'll see you soon.